Everyone, this is Dale Berkebile, and I just wanted to let you know that I have this great program that I'm putting out that I think you may be interested in and at least want to check out. And so here's the thing, if you know my background a little bit, you probably know that I am someone that is passionate about meditation and mindfulness. Um, well, recently I had an interesting thing happen. I was exposed to the idea of post-traumatic growth, right? And we probably all know what post-traumatic stress is, right? Military people coming back from war and different things like that from trauma have some struggles and things like that. But post-traumatic growth is actually a little bit different. Post-traumatic growth is a theory that explains this kind of transformation that is following trauma. So the concept is that people who endure psychological struggle, following some sort of adversity in their life, can see positive growth afterward. So if you know me, you may have heard me talk about my purpose in life, and my purpose is to challenge people to become innovative leaders so that we can change the world together. Right now is a time we are seeing more trauma related to the pandemic, race relations, the political environment, the conflict over wearing masks or not wearing masks, fake news, financial issues, job loss, virtual schooling or fear from in-person schooling, and the list goes on, right? There are a lot of people out there that are struggling. This is actually causing trauma right now in their lives. And there's more alcohol and drug abuse, there's more physical abuse in family, spouse abuse and child abuse and suicides and all these different things. And so that stuff is really bad. You're going to get powerful tools that will challenge you to become an innovative leader in these crazy times. Even if you use it just for yourself to solve your own problems and get through this and find what your post-traumatic growth can be on the other side of this. This is an opportunity that you can take these stress and these traumas that you may be dealing with and turn them into something really powerful. I want you to have tools to cope with the everyday craziness that we're dealing with right now. And more importantly, because I want to challenge you to become an innovative leader so that we can change the world together, I want you to be a rock in your family, in your community, to help those that are out there that are struggling. So you can use this first off to help yourself, but then as you start to build a foundation of stability in your own life, take this out into the world and help people that are struggling. I'm not saying give my work away for free. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is your new and better self that you're going to create by working on yourself here, doing the self-care, doing the mindfulness training, you're going to be a better person out into the world. And that is going to change the world. A better you equals a better world. And that's how we see this. This is a 8-week course. So there are video lessons that you'll get each week, a lesson based on a specific topic. So you'll learn about mindfulness ideas and concepts. And there's also a 168-page workbook and activity journal that will allow you to dig deep in the exercises that we're going to provide each week. So I think there's about 3 exercises each week that you can work on. The workbook will dig into the details for that, as well as text versions of the lessons if you read better than, if you learn better through reading than through watching the videos. And also there's activity journals, so you can write down and document and track the progress that you have throughout the course, and that will really help you move forward. On top of that, there's also audio for some of the exercises. So there's meditation exercises that you can use on a weekly basis, and but these audios will help guide your some of the meditations that we'll do throughout the weeks. Now, here's the thing. Let's talk a little bit about my own personal post-traumatic growth. Um, the funny thing is I'm using my own struggles to help you. How did I get here? I'll share a personal example with you. In 2013, I lived in Texas, still live in Texas, but in 2013, we had a rare snow and ice storm. And at this time, my business was kind of down. I was having a downturn in business. And at this time, we had this 4-day of ice storm that just shut down the city. I had a newborn. My first son was about 4 to 6 months old. I had my mother-in-law visiting. I had just recently closed my business office and moved home. And so I had a 1,400 square foot office that I moved into a 1,400 square foot home on top of living on my living furniture and different things like that. So it was kind of a mess and kind of crazy at this time. I was working on a huge project that was my first online training course, and I was working like 70 plus hours a week. I mean, I was just bogged down. And working 6-7 days a week, every week for multiple weeks, for months. And so I was starting to burn out. Anyhow, trying to get this work done was really hard at home, with my family being home, with the clutter of just recently moving my office back. And on the 4th day of being cooped up, I said, you know what, we're going to pick up some lunch. And I went outside and I was going to get my car out. It was iced in. The whole driveway was iced over. And living in Texas, I'm from Pennsylvania, so I'm used to winters, but I didn't have any tools. I didn't have a shovel or anything like that to get out. I did have a sledgehammer. So what I did was I grabbed a sledgehammer. I'm like, and I'm just breaking up the ice because it was really thick. I did that for 2 hours to break out a way out of the driveway. What happened was I turned on my car, started it up to warm it up and get the ice off the windows and stuff like that. I was going for my wife. I had the window down, and as I was yelling to my wife to signal her and let her know I was ready, I hear squealing wheels. Well, my car was being stolen. Luckily, the guy pulled out, got stuck on the road, hit ice, and was spinning. And so I started running after him to catch him, and I tried to grab onto to the window to try and get the guy, and he hit a dry spot and went tearing out. Now, the problem is, I looked him right in his eyes. Right? It was one of these, right in the eyes. I'm looking at this guy, and I was just like, oh man, I was so furious, and he got away. I wasn't able to catch him. But it just ate me alive. I was struggling. We called the cops. We dealt with the cops and different things like that. But if you can imagine, this was pretty traumatic. I was exhausted from 2 hours of work trying to bust the car out, and then this guy took it. Right? It was awful. It was awful. And so I was pissed off at myself. I was pissed off at the situation. I was pissed off at the guy. I was pissed off at the cops because they came and asked if they were blaming me like it was an insurance fraud scam, that I was doing this on purpose. It was just bad news. And so I was an angry, bitter man for 6 months. Anyhow, along with the other struggles that I had going on in my life, the downturn of business and just being cooped up for 4 days and all this stuff, it kind of pushed me into a dark 2-year depression. I mean, it was ugly. It was really bad. I was angry for 6 months. I mean, I was just in a really bad place. And, the other thing is I struggled when I talked to family or friends to try and figure out what the hell was going on. I never really had any sort of depression before, so I didn't know why things were so horrible. I mean, after the event, I knew why I was angry for 6 months, but I turned that around, and but I wasn't sure what this depression was because I never experienced anything like it. But it was the worst thing that I've ever experienced in my life, and it stuck around for 2 years. Anyhow, I figured out how to build my own self-care routine. And so there were a lot of things that I did to start putting good practices in place to help myself. And I started meditating along with other self-care activities that started to build a bridge out of this mess. And it took a while, but it was pretty miraculous. What I found was this regular self-care was not only great for my current state of mind that I was in, and potentially mental health issues that I was dealing with, but maybe part of the problem, part of how I got there was because I didn't have any sort of regular routine self-care sort of practice. Looking back, I realized that I was not equipped for these crazy life struggles that I was thrown in. I was just a normal guy, brought up like most Americans. I went to the same public education system that most people went to. I went to, probably similar church and similar upbringing with parents and family and different things like that. This was all great. However, what it didn't do is help me recognize the coping skills that I should have in place that I do on a regular basis. So if you think of eating right is something that you do to stay healthy, or exercising on a consistent basis helps you stay healthy, there's this whole mindset thing that no one talks about, this self-care that no one talks about. And so I wasn't equipped. Now we're in the thick of all this crisis, right? The pandemic, the race relations, the political environment, all this stuff is overwhelming. And so there's a good chance that, you may not be equipped for what's going on right now. You may be hiding the issue of struggle that you're going through right now, because really what happened to me was, my family and friends couldn't help me. I couldn't really get the medical help that I needed. It was just bad. I had to figure it out on my own. And so I don't ever want anyone to go through this kind of struggle on their own again. And so I'm trying to create systems and processes and teaching tools and training that will help you never have to deal with what I had to go through. So basically, this is coping skills, and it's also preventative medicine to keep you from running into the issues that I did when life pulls the rug out from under you, right? And we're kind of in the thick of that. So, I'm doing my best here to give you the tools now so that you can start working on things. Basically, I devoted the next few years of my life to digging myself out of my depression. I created a self-care practice for myself, and one of the most important tools that I found was meditation and mindfulness. And I kind of happened onto it by accident. I got a 10-day trial at Headspace, the Headspace app on my phone. I learned the basics of meditation. I used the app for nearly a year or two. Then I found Insight Timer, which was a free app that has all kinds of stuff on it that's really great. I used that for several years, the last 3 or 4 years, I think. And I do daily meditation. But what I found beyond meditation itself, meditation led me to mindfulness. And so with mindfulness, I found that there's a bunch of practices that I can do all day, every day, all the time that can help me cope better with any kind of stresses in life. Fighting with a colleague or your spouse or your children or whatever. There are a lot of exercises that you can do to kind of keep things under control. Anyhow, this changed my life. It's hard to put into words how different my life is today. One thing that I can tell you, though, is these practices saved my life from heading into another tailspin in this pandemic. I was dealing with things like a champ, man. I got to tell you, the last 8 months have been tough. There's no doubt about that. There's a lot of unknown, uncertainty, and all that kind of stuff. But I've really been able to cope with the struggles much better. We still have struggles, but I cope with them better. Really, I took it all in stride. Really, it was like getting a scuffed knee. It's a scuffed knee, you clean it up and you move on, you go about your business. that's kind of how I've been dealing with this pandemic, and things have actually been pretty good. And here's the thing, as I said earlier, a few years ago, I defined my purpose in life, and it is to challenge people to become innovative leaders so that we can change the world together. And that's what I want. This part of why I want to offer this right now is I want you to become an innovative leader, and that means that you're healthy and that you're a productive member of society, a productive member of your family, a productive member of your work environment and things like that. So I want you to have the tools to be your best self, right? In these crazy times, early in the pandemic, I started doing daily meditations on Facebook Live, right? My goal was to try and help people back then from like 5 days into the pandemic. I started doing daily Facebook Live meditations, and I did over 100 of those videos. I didn't know how long this was going to last or how long it was going on, but in that time, I realized that I was unable to teach some of the really valuable tools, and so I started trying to figure out how to create a course that would be able to help people out, and I have it. This is what it is today. So it's called Self-Care, but it's an 8-week mindfulness course. And again, it has 8 video lessons. It has a 168-page workbook that also has exercises in it that you can read, or you can watch. You can practice. There's audios that will guide you in the practices, but there's also an activity journal that you can track and monitor what you're doing. And if you do all these different things, you will see progress by the end of the 8 weeks. And ideally, what I want you to do is take these tools and turn them into a different you. I want you to apply these in your life. I want you to use mindfulness for the rest of your life once you head down this path, once you explore what this can bring to you. And again, it was life-changing for me. And this course should be great for anyone that is an overwhelmed parent trying to create or manage a healthy family in this time, business owners or employees that are on the verge of burnout. It'll be great for you, give you great work-life balance. Any person who is struggling and looking to get their shit together, to create a more self-confident person, or, a program for self-love in your life. If you need some tools to help there, if you're struggling in any way there, and the person that is just overwhelmed by the negativity, the pandemic, race relations, and other politics, all that stuff that we see, this will give you some tools to cope with that stuff. And really, what is the problem? I'm hoping that we can help you minimize or end your issues with anger, anxiety, fear, overwhelm, sadness, stress. Those are some of the big things that this is going to help you with. And if this sounds like something that you need or you want, then you're in luck. It's actually an investment in yourself and your future. These practices will add years to your life, help you be more happy, and offer solutions to deal with and cope with all life's difficulties. This is an 8-week course, mindfulness course, and again, it includes 8 lessons, video lessons, 168-page workbook and activity journal to help you understand and practice mindfulness and meditation exercises, as well as audio recordings to listen to and practice these exercises. There's probably 8 hours, 10 hours of video and lots of extra resources that will go way beyond that, because I want you to find success. I want you to find happiness. And I see the craziness that's going on out there in the world, and I want to help. Okay. And, it's challenging you to try new coping tools, try new self-care, try new mindfulness routines that will help you just have a better life. At the end of the day, that's what I want. I want you to have a better life. And what I know is if you're a better you, then that means we're going to have the ripple effect, and that means we're going to have a better world. The more better yous that are out there being better, the better the world can be. And so it's just one small thing that I can do to try and help you be your best you and improve the world in the process of doing that. So I hope that this is something you're interested in. Thank you so much for watching and following me, and just being a wonderful person in my life. And I wish you peace, love, and respect. Have a great day, and thanks again.